In this installment, we have an AFC battle here between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Cincinnati Bengals. This is your Monday Night Football Showdown slate on Draftkings. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for our Monday Night Football Showdown slate on DraftKings between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Jacksonville Jaguars. But before I deep dive into that, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at MetsNetsJetsD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91. And don't forget about the Patreon. But before I touch on that, guys, we are at the homepage of the YouTube. We are currently at 1.48 thousand subscribers. We are very, very close to our goal to 1.49 and 1.5. So let's continue to push that narrative forward. If you're currently not a subscriber, go ahead and smash that subscribe button right this second. All right. Now for the Patreon, it was solid. It was an okay day. Some of the 1 o'clock games messed us up a little bit, but the 4 o'clock slate was a sweep. We had 49ers money line, we had LA Rams money line, and we also had the +3.5 of the Panthers. They covered as well. So guys, if you're on winning bets, get connected right now. Go to that link provided down below. Before we touch into the plays of Captain and Flex, you already know we have to go over the injury report. So we're going to start off with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not much to say here, all right? Travis Etienne was limited all week long. He's going to be fine. That's pretty much the most important player right there. Brent Strange, who's a backup tight end, he didn't practice on Saturday, so he might be out. And that's going to just be the backup guy to their starting tight end. So these are talking about second and third string tight ends. I don't think we need to go that far in our lineup builds for now. But Brent Strange, he looks like he's trending towards being out because he had DNP on Saturday. So we'll see on Monday, probably midday, we'll get some more news on him if he's going to be in or out. But you'll see Luke Farrell be the backup tight end if Brent Strange is going to be out, all right? Next will be the Cincinnati Bengals. The only key injury here is going to be Cam Taylor-Britt. He missed the game last week as well, and this is their starting cornerback. So they're going to have some problems with depth in the secondary. They already have a very young safety group after losing Jesse Bates and another player last year, but this young core right here that they have in that safety and cornerback group right there for the Cincinnati Bengals is going to be a factor that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to have to exploit, okay, in this matchup. So Cam Taylor-Britt being out is going to be a big loss there. Everyone else, we're waiting on Jay Tufili. He did not practice on Friday and Saturday, and he's currently questionable. We're going to find out if he's going to start in this game on Monday. Everyone else is fine for the Cincinnati Bengals, who was pretty much hampered after losing their starting quarterback, Joe Burrow. This team, obviously low in spirits here. We'll see what happens when we break down this slate. Let's get into the captains. For the captain position, we're going to start off at the top here with quarterback Trevor Lawrence here. Trevor Lawrence has been pretty solid as of late. We have 2 back-to-back outstanding games from Trevor Lawrence. This is what we were expecting all year long from him. So far this season has been very subpar, but he's coming on strong in that Tennessee game and Houston. So in division, he's been pretty strong against Tennessee and Houston. Now he's going up against the Cincinnati Bengals, who have some question marks in that secondary, and that he can definitely exploit. And he also provides some upside using his rushing ability like he did in Clemson. All right, so Trevor Lawrence is going to be a play that we can go towards at the captain spot. If we're looking at fantasy points allowed to opposing quarterbacks here, we have the Cincinnati Bengals. I adjusted some of the stats from week 8 on. So from week 8 to now week 13, where this is the accumulated stats here, because obviously teams adjust during the season defensively. And as of late, Cincinnati Bengals are 24th overall, 9th in the red zone. They're giving up a lot of passing yards to opposing quarterbacks, 304, and only 1 TD. So that's going to be really good for Trevor Lawrence. 33 rushing yards as well. So you already know that Trevor Lawrence has the ability to get out of the pocket, create, and definitely make a mess of things here utilizing his legs. All right. So love Trevor Lawrence as a captain play in this slate. Next guy we're going to be talking about will be Travis Etienne. He does carry a Q tag, but he was limited all week long. He should be fine to play. If anything comes up, then you're going to be looking at Dearness Johnson and Tank Bigsby. Those are going to be the 1-2 punch at the running back position if we hear anything else about Travis Etienne. But as of right now, he is going to be a play we can definitely consider at the captain spot. We already know his explosiveness. He's going to get highly utilized in the rushing and the receiving game. They have a great connection going all the way back to college in Clemson. Etienne and Trevor Lawrence are like this. They are very close knit. All right. And then we're looking at fantasy points allowed to opposing running backs. The weakness here for the Cincinnati Bengals, they are 24th overall, 27th in the red zone. They're giving up 94 yards a game to opposing running backs and 4.6 yards a carry, and definitely a touchdown per game as well. So that's going to bode well for Travis Etienne if you want to consider going this route in your lineup builds as him for a captain spot. Coming on strong this year as well, putting his whole game together. All right. Now, if you're looking at the spread in this particular matchup here for the Cincinnati Bengals and the Jacksonville Jaguars, we have it at -9.5, the over-under at 39.5. A lot of people get discouraged from that, but one of the weaknesses of the Jacksonville Jaguars, you're going to have to pass the football here if you want to attack this team. They're very, very strong stopping the run, but if you're looking at fantasy points allowed to opposing quarterbacks, the Jacksonville Jaguars are worse than the Bengals as of late, 25th overall, 30th in the red zone. They're giving up 243 yards passing and 2 TDs. So not that many yards, but definitely touchdowns they're giving up to opposing quarterbacks, okay? And wide receivers is even better, all right? So we're looking at fantasy points allowed to wide receivers. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 25th and 29th in the red zone, all right? So this is where if the Cincinnati Bengals are going to have a chance, this would have been better if Joe Burrow was in the mix, but we have Jake Browning. So Jake Browning is going to have to get the ball to Jamar Chase and or T. Higgins. This is a spot where Jamar Chase, I'm not saying he's going to be lower owned, but hey, people do get a little bit discouraged because it's going to be Browning instead of Burrow. But he's still going to get a solid amount of targets. It's not going to be 9, 10, 11, 12, but that's what they're going to need. All right, this is the Burrow numbers, 12, 13, 19, 15. Since Jake Browning has been playing, you've seen a decrease, but they're going to have to force feed this man if they want to have a chance to win this game on the road in Jacksonville. So let's put our trust in Jamar Chase's talent to come up big in this situation because it is a very good matchup. So Jamar Chase is going to be considered as a captain and even T. Higgins. All right, we'll put both of these guys in the mix. He's coming back from his injury. He's going to be healthy. Now you get a little bit less attention on Jamar Chase. You can't double team him now because you got T. Higgins in the mix, and one of these two guys are going to go off on Monday. All right. Some of the other guys we can consider at the captain spot. Calvin Ridley is coming on very strong as of late. The past 2 weeks, he put together 21.9 against Houston and 34.1. The chemistry is there. Obviously, coming back from a long layoff, you expected Ridley to have a slow start, but he's probably going to have a very strong finish. He can be on that captain list that I do like going towards in this matchup here on Monday Night Football. All right. And then last but not least, who we're going towards at captain will be Evan Ingram. This is the dark horse captain spot here, and this is purely off matchup. Obviously, he's getting a solid amount of targets each and every game, 5, 6, 7, 8, sometimes even 10. All right, this is a heavily targeted tight end in the whole entire NFL. Now let's look at fantasy points allowed to opposing tight ends. This is a perfect spot for him. We're looking at the Cincinnati Bengals, 25th overall, 16th in the red zone. They're giving up 7.6 catches per game and 95.6 yards per game to opposing tight ends. That is the most yards in the whole entire NFL as of late. Okay, they are getting torched by opposing tight ends. So he's going to be one of our favorite cheaper options at that tight end spot. Love Evan Ingram starting there and then following through. And hey, guys, he doesn't have a touchdown yet this year. This could be a perfect opportunity for him to get in the end zone. Love Evan Ingram. Let's go on to the flex plays. Now for the flex plays here, we're going to start things off with Jake Browning, the quarterback of Cincinnati. The kid has some moxie, has some upside here as a flex play. He would have to come through, man. He's going to have to throw multiple touchdowns for him to reach it. I'm not saying this is a desperate play, but this is more of, you see a scenario of the Bengals and Jacksonville, a little bit more of a back and forth. Definitely not allowing Joe Mixon to get in the end zone, which, hey, this is Jacksonville Jaguars defense. It's very strong stopping the run. So it forces Jake Browning to pass the ball and make some decisions, especially in their red zone area. All right. So we can consider Jake Browning as a flex play when we get to some cheaper options down here. So Jake Browning is going to be fine as a flex play. The next guy we can look at, I'm just going to mention him. I might totally fade him, but Joe Mixon is a guy that's just going to get a lot of volume. He's going to get rushes. He's going to get receptions as well. As you saw, 21 against Baltimore. He's been very consistent. 12 against Houston, 17 against Buffalo, 20 against San Francisco. It's because he's getting double-digit rushing attempts, and he's getting a nice handful of receiving as well. The icing on the cake is him falling in the end zone, which he had a nice little streak there in week 11, 10, 9, and 8. But last week he didn't get an end zone and only had 8 fantasy points. So you don't want that type of downside, but he is getting a solid amount of touches. So that's why you can consider Joe Mixon going that route there for the Cincinnati Bengals. All right, next guy we're going to be looking at will be Christian Kirk. He's going to be higher on our list here because he's just a very solid option. For majority of the season, he was outperforming Calvin Ridley. Now Calvin Ridley is stepping up, and Christian Kirk is the number 3 guy here in the offense for the Jacksonville Jaguars, where he can come through. Hopefully he gets in the end zone. That's where he's going to need to make his bread and butter. This guy is more of a possession receiver and not a guy that gets in the end zone as much. So he's going to have to do well with the targets he's going to get. So Christian Kirk is a solid option here against this secondary in Cincinnati. I have no problem considering him in some of my lineups. Let's continue to go down a little bit further, see if we can find some value here. Zay Jones, always an X factor. We saw how great he was last season. Before his injury, he was solid in week 1, 5 for 55 and a touchdown, pretty much leaving off where he was last year. We saw another good game from him against Buffalo. A lot of injury, so he's coming back since week 11, had 4 targets, week 12 had 3. He's getting more acclimated here. This is week 13 now, 3 weeks in. We should expect a decent game here from Zay Jones, and this is one of the top targets of Trevor Lawrence as well. We saw it last season where he had a phenomenal year, so Zay Jones definitely can be considered as an option in your flex. All right, let's see if we can find anyone else. Kickers and defenses, I am not playing the Cincinnati Bengals defense. We are going to be playing Jaguars defense, and you can consider both kickers as well, okay? So Jaguars defense is a definite because they are very strong against the opposing run, and that can force some mistakes for Jake Browning, who's going to be forced to throw the football, right? So Jaguars D and both kickers here, McManus and McPherson, they have a solid average per game right now, 8.4 and 7.6. 8.4 and 10.1. Especially Brandon McManus. They've been kicking the field goal a lot for these Jacksonville Jaguars. Any other guys we can look at and consider? Dearness Johnson, I spoke about. The only reason why he had 7 touches last week was we saw a little bit of an injury to Travis Etienne. He left the game. Dearness Johnson came in, took a couple carries and receptions as well. He's looking like the number 2 guy as the running back, and then take Bigsby is right behind him. So the rookie and Tank Bigsby is falling behind Dearness Johnson, who had a pretty solid year last year with the Cleveland Browns when he got opportunities. So if we have any other news about ETN, do not be shy of going towards Dearness Johnson. All right. Hey, maybe if you want to punt there at the running back spot, maybe you want to go 2 running backs, maybe this game gets out of hand. You can see, hey, they do very well with ETN. And obviously, they might close out the game with Dearness Johnson as well. So that can be an avenue there. Trent Irwin was a factor when T. Higgins was out. He was getting a little more targets there in week 11 and week 10. But he's a little bit on the back burner. It's pretty ugly as we go a little bit further down here. If we're going to choose a tight end for the Cincinnati Bengals, I would rather Drew Sample over Irv Smith. If we want to be totally honest, Irv Smith has been horrible his whole entire career. He finally got in the end zone in week 9 against Buffalo, but the more consistent guy has been Drew Sample as of late. He had a touchdown last week. We saw another solid game from him against Buffalo. He had 12 fantasy points there. And you're seeing a little bit more targets than Irv Smith in this offense. So if you want to consider the tight end for Cincinnati, I would choose Drew Sample over Irv Smith. And that's how far we're going to go in our lineup build here for this Monday Night Football slate. All right. The cheapest we will go will be Drew Sample. All right. Now let's go with the 3 locks to have in each and every one of our lineups. Number 1 is going to be Evan Ingram. I'm going all the way down and saving some salary here. Love Evan Ingram in this slate. Love Jamar Chase if we're going to choose Cincinnati Bengal here. I like the fact T. Higgins is coming back. That's going to take a little bit less of a focus off of him. They don't have to totally double team him each and every possession. Jamar Chase, he could have some opportunity to have a little more one-on-one coverage here in this scenario. In the third option here, we are going to go with Calvin Ridley as number 3. All right. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence comes right behind that, but I want to keep riding the hot hand here in Calvin Ridley. 34 and 21.9 the last past 2 games. Love the fact that he's going up against the secondary in Cincinnati. So those are going to be our 3 locks for Monday Night Football. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll be back with another video very soon. All right. Peace out, guys.